Good evening. Welcome to the April 9th meeting of the Norwood Trails Advisory Committee. We'll start off by taking attendance. I'm Lee Leach.
Vic Babel.
Ernie Patrickowski.
Fran Rush.
Craig Austin.
Sue Bartlett.
Sue Bartlett. And this meeting is also being recorded for a later broadcast on Norwood Community Media. So we do have an agenda we're going to follow, and people are welcome to join us as they arrive. I know Joe Greeley, our chairman, is delayed on the MBTA commuter rail. We'll be here when the next train comes into town.
A baseball game, I bet.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that got over a little late.
Yeah. They lose.
We have the agenda in front of us. Call to order has been taken, and quorum's been established of 4 or more. We can. Did people have a chance to review the meeting minutes from not last meeting, but the week before that, the meeting before that?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a motion to accept those as presented?
I motion to accept them as presented.
Okay. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Fran. The minute meetings from last meeting of March 26th are not completed yet, and so they will be submitted between now and our next meeting on April 23rd. Okay, next item are completed walks, and I know there's been a couple of these we've done. Refresh my memory. I think we did we do one after the group that went up? Did we report on that yet? The one that went up the
Father Max.
Father Max. We reported on that last time, didn't we?
I don't think so. Did we?
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
That was at a Father. When did you go up the west? That was.
Well,
the
let's
previous
just
one.
go back then. If somebody has done a trail walk in Norwood, and then we can get to talking about outside of Norwood walks. I know a couple of people have been involved in
Oh, yes, yeah.
walks outside. Anybody
I-
have a report from?
I had a friend that came up for Dancing with the Stars from Tucson, Arizona, and so he lived in the Father Max area, and he used to shoot rats at the cemetery. So I told him, can we when he was a kid, of course,
Yeah.
and would you like to take a walk? And we did the walk. We went up the top of the dump. It was like, I haven't been here in 60 years, I mean, it was like, he was so happy. And then we went to Father Max and showed him the possibility of connecting with Westwood. And then we went and found the old skating pond up there, which is all overgrown with cattails. And I heard that a couple of years ago they were thinking of revitalizing that because it still has the footprint of it, and it still has water in it, but it wouldn't take much to get it back. And as growing up in Norwood, that's where we all skated. That was it. That's when your mom would say, "Get out of the house and come back before dark." That's all they wanted to know.
Was there ice on it when you were there?
I've been there several times, and I've gone on the pond with ice on it, and taken some nice pictures through the cattails and all that. And then we circled around and went through the cemetery, and it was just so nice for him to come back. And he feels like a townie now again, because I've taken to different things, the Dancing with the Stars and all that, and he loves the town. Right now he's living in Tucson. But then we did do walks at Blue Hills.
Okay. Anybody have any other walk that was in town before then? Before we go to Blue Hills, go ahead then, Dick.
Well, Jerry Miller and I met with, I'm trying to think of his name now,
Bob
Bob
Flagg.
Flagg.
Bob Flagg, with 2 G's, yeah.
Bob was presented last week last meeting.
Yes, and he was gracious enough to actually train us. And he took us on the trails of Blue Hills. And what was amazing to me was we're in the parking lot at Holton's Pond, which is huge. And at 8:30 in the morning, there must have been 100 cars there already. And then we went and did about 3 hours of trails, and he showed us how to divert water, how to cut brush, how to maintain the trails, and how to read the markers. And so it was a very, very interesting walk. And when we got back just before noontime, I thought I was at a beach or something, because there was people in the parking lot waiting for your space to free up, and there must, have 1,000 cars there. It was totally full. It was a beautiful day. But he taught us a lot of tips, and I was very happy to do that hike, and I'd love to do it again with him, and I guess if we do a couple of these, we can be trained to be a leader of a group to help clean the track, the trails,
yeah.
So I thought it was wonderful. Jerry thought otherwise. His knee was killing him, but he enjoyed it too.
Now, on that walk, was he taking notes as to what needed to be done with work, or was he just taking you to train?
He came back with Sue. Were you on him the next day?
Oh,
The
okay.
next week.
Yep.
No, the next
next
day.
day,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
The next
Sunday.
one, yeah.
So do you want to talk about your?
Oh, okay.
He knows every trail everywhere, and he knows exactly where every problem is.
Hmm.
He's constantly on the trails. And Sue, you walked the next day?
Yeah, we had a great walk actually, and then at one point we saw those 2 trees that were down.
Yeah,
that,
big trees too.
Big trees, and then he had a small saw, and he said, "Let's take these out." And I said, "Well, we'd need a chainsaw for this." And he said, "Oh no, we can do it with this." And we actually did it, which I
Yeah,
was amazed.
I
at.
was
This
I
little
was
tiny
amazed
saw
because they were huge trees.
Yeah, they were huge trees, and we took them all out.
Yeah.
We cleared the path. So
Yeah.
that was interesting to learn that part too.
Yeah, and the way they divert the water,
Yeah.
and it's just very interesting.
Yeah.
Great trails there, and we can have great trails in Norwood too sometime.
Well,
Any
they've had a
other-
lot longer to work on them.
Well,
We
they have a lot more help too.
Yes, that's true.
And
They
a
have-
lot, yeah, a lot
They
of
have,
years, a lot of people
so many
like them,
different
sure.
societies that are
That's right.
a part of that, that help them out financially and labor-wise,
Mhm.
so. But we learn from the best, why not,
Sure.
so.
So you think another couple sessions with Bob, and you'd be comfortable leading a group down in Norwood for doing some
Yeah,
kind
and
of
that's what
activities
he's
like
trying
that?
to do to us.
Yeah.
Did he say anything on you, for you,
Yeah, he
Sue?
just basically, and then he said like the first time we trained, like some of the leaders that will take other groups out, he was willing to come down and help us train people too.
Oh, great.
And
Yeah.
and supervise that part of it too. So the first time we train others, he would be here too. So he's very like generous with his time and everything too.
Very generous.
Yeah,
Excellent.
And he knows his trails.
yeah.
He knows how to maintain them, so we're lucky to have him as a resource. Any other trails or anything?
This
No?
No, moving on then, subcommittee reports, trail mapping.
No change since last
nothing-
time. Yep.
Well,
I
you
di-
had submitted something to the general.
Well, yeah, we submitted, 3 or 4 maps to the group to look over, maybe make some comments. Haven't received anything.
I thought I sent you something, all right.
I'll have to look,
I'll
I'll have to
definitely
look
look.
again. Yeah, I was away last week, so. So I didn't get, looking for feedback to improve the trail mapping. I don't know if we
The
wanna
number
have it.
was really good, though. It was a
Okay.
really sound, style, and,
Mhm.
took a lot of things from the last comment and tried to incorporate them.
I didn't know if we wanted any of these trails, or the maps, available for Earth Day, or is it too soon, we have to get them approved by somebody?
Well, I guess that's a question to the town, like what kind of approval would be needed?
So.
Department of Recreation?
Well, I think,
Be Tony, wouldn't
in terms of like a town approval to post, maybe, but if we wanted to, I'm thinking if we wanted to like have something available at Earth Day for demonstration purposes to get feedback.
You don't need to, you could come up with
Yeah.
what you've got,
And
we're fine.
Which there are always gonna be improvements.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
That's what
people
that's
just
what-
want a general idea of where they are, they're not looking for, you know, waypoints and all that stuff, they're just looking for a general, right now, I think it's just informing people where they can go and walk, you know, I mean, you know, I think, because that's the number one question, people say, trails in Norwood, you know, everybody goes, you kidding, you know, where, what, you know, never heard of it.
Yeah.
So I think now it's just informing them that there are some, you know, that are walkable now, I mean, Endine is certainly walkable, Winter Street one is certainly
School,
walkable,
yeah.
and, yeah, the Father Max one that we did, through Winter Street,
Yeah.
is certainly walkable now, and, you know, so there are
Still-
places.
Not a little wet at this point?
It wasn't
It's-
bad.
Really?
It's
Yeah, I
a
think
pretty
it's
good
still
gravel
okay.
road, I mean, the road is actually a pretty good gravel road, I mean, you could drive, I mean, it's, pickup truck can go down it. right?
And you know, I think people's realization that there are trails, every time I walk the trails now, there's people on it,
That's good.
you
Good.
know. Whether they were there before, I don't know, but I never ran into them. Of course, the weather's getting better too, so.
Actually, now, like, walking to the top of the landfill, I mean, before the new growth comes in and everything, it's an
Yeah.
easy walk up there, and it's beautiful
It's
up there.
beautiful.
Now,
I
where do you
mean-
park?
You park at the Willet.
Willet, and it's
At the
really a
Willet.
short walk.
So,
Is there an obvious trailhead?
yeah, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
park close to the Fenway Park wall.
The baseball field.
The baseball
Remember where the-
field.
Where the
Yeah.
tennis courts
You go-
used to be?
You go down to the
Okay.
end of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
go
go
right to
right
the
off
end,
that.
and then you'll see two posts with a,
Chain across?
chain with
Chain,
a,
just walk
rubber
around it.
thing around
Okay.
it.
Good.
And then just walk
and-
down.
If you just want to go to the landfill, it's probably 100 yards down the road.
Yeah, okay.
And then you can go right up the landfill, maybe a
Yeah.
little more, but, you know, this time of year when there's no new growth and everything, it's an easy
This is-
walk up there.
sure.
And it is, I haven't been up there in years, it's beautiful up there.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah, nice
especially
view.
at sunset.
Yeah.
So,
Sunset.
Nice.
so getting back to using the maps at Earth Day, I think,
We could put
let's,
them
take
at
a
their
best
tent,
shot
shade on the
and-
booth
and-
and,
well,
yeah.
maybe,
I'll
I'll
take
have
a last
something,
look.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
have-
add a few more things, I think.
I have a couple available for the cleanup crews too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not that they really need them per se,
We're
but.
gonna hand them out to other people if they're interested in
But at the
other-
booth uptown,
Up at the
definitely
booth, we
should
should
have.
Okay.
um, have a stack of some number.
There
I
certainly
don't
was a
know,
lot
You know,
of,
the one
when-
thing we didn't
interest
have
in
was
it.
a logo on it.
When,
A
Hey,
logo
Joe.
or anything on those maps. There's nothing saying Trails Committee or.
Well,
Trails
you're talking about
Advisory.
interest,
something
and
from Sue.
as I said earlier, I don't think you were here. I went last night to the Norwood 101 at the library,
oh, yeah.
and it was
Oh,
very
I didn't see you
interesting.
there.
I was there, and everybody was coming up to me. Where's your booth on Trails? Where's the Trails
Really?
booth? So
Huh,
I
okay.
I wouldn't even thought of being there, but they all were saying you should be here. And
Next time.
next time, but it was good. They got a lot of new residents there, and it was nice to talk to them, and nice to talk to all the different. Of course, we had the new person in town, Tony Mizzou, something.
What's
He
his
was
name?
there.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
And,
there before Tony came up. So
Pardon?
I was up at the library before Tony came up, so that's why I missed.
Oh, okay, I was there about 7.
Yeah, I had left.
I don't wanna spend anybody else's money, but I'm thinking for Earth Day at the booth, I don't know, believe because I don't run, but Sue, you may know the running store.
They're gonna have a booth.
Do they have at Earth Day?
Yeah.
I was gonna say if they didn't, I don't know, I don't think they get into like hiking shoes or that
No,
kind of thing
it's
there.
totally
Strictly
running.
sneakers and running.
Yeah, but they would love.
But I mean, if, you know,
on
if
soft
you
ground.
could,
Trail
if they had like a, you know, yeah, a good pair of walking shoes or something, if they gave like a coupon, you know, 10% off or something, or, you know, a coupon or something that they could hand up. But if they're gonna have a booth, I'm sure
Yeah,
they'll have
they
something
have
like
it. And
that.
you know,
So I think, John Aprea is gonna come down, he's up at the other meeting, and so we can talk more about Earth Day after he comes back.
Yes,
right,
because he's
okay.
presenting to the
Because he-
selectmen
so
right
we'll-
now.
Yeah, we'll get a lot more detailed information. So let's hold off on Earth Day,
Alright.
if you want, but we could
Mhm.
go on to Historical Society.
Let's.
Stick in the, and,
Perfect
we're still
timing.
within our 30 minutes on this topic, so.
Excellent,
Mhm.
excellent.
So on the Historical Society, I was at the library yesterday, and I did talk to Brian Burns and,
Mhm.
Cashman.
no,
Patty?
Patty Fanny.
no, your friend.
Linda Rao?
Linda Rao,
Oh,
who
yes.
was at
Oh, yes.
their table.
She was at the table.
So I wanted to ask Joe if you'd connected with Brian yet since yesterday. He's looking for some promotional publicity, little blurb on what we're gonna
Okay.
present,
Okay,
and
what's his last name?
Brian Burns,
Burns, okay.
yeah, if
Yeah,
you
but
wanna.
is it B-Y-R?
BY,
Or-
yeah, I have his
yeah,
okay,
contact
all right.
information.
I
He's-
did
he's-
touch base a couple
he-
times with Linda, and she
Yeah.
gave me his name, I just couldn't remember his last name.
Right, he's probably just gonna blast off a big email
Okay,
for
great.
this meeting. And,
Great. I
um,
think we have our standard press release, right? Yeah. We
So I
did,
promised to get something back to him very soon, because he was looking for it last night, actually, but
Okay.
put him off until
we
today.
do have a, what is it?
PowerPoint is done.
Kind of this PowerPoint.
Where is it? Oh, okay.
So we've got, so this is the same, may I, or did you wanna, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say,
Okay.
Joe, you maybe we could just
you wanna
include
go through
this
it?
as, you know, in a PDF format
Sure, we could do that.
to attach to, for the publicity.
Maybe he doesn't want anything that long, maybe he just wants a blurb.
No, I'm just saying that is the only,
Attach it.
the only
Cover page.
Oh, okay.
cover page,
Okay,
that-
we get-
so that,
Cool.
you know, people can actually visually see it in the email.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so we did, we used the library presentation, we pulled out maybe 10 to 12 pages, actually Sue did. We pulled out about 10 or 12 pages out of the library presentation, and we replaced them with maybe 3 or 4 pages. There was a document, in fact, if I haven't shipped it around, about 10 years ago, there was a document called Open Space,
Mhm.
Open Spaces, I think, that Patty Fanning and Bruce Jones, this one,
Yeah.
it would look like that.
Hmm.
And it was really good. It covers, I don't know if you remember that, Lee, or not, but.
I actually have a copy of
you
it
did,
here.
okay.
Really?
But
Oh,
Al
Oh.
Getz contributed, and a number of people contributed to it. It was when, it was put together right at the same time as the last open space and master plan. Your name, Ernie, you got credit for it, on the back, one of the back pages, I think.
Pictures?
And there's, so if you scroll through just a couple of these, but, so it identifies the,
How do you get to know?
what's that? So it identifies those 8 or so locations. It gives a good description of most of them as far as the history behind them, and there's really good information about like the Shattuck and Peswick and Ellis. Ellis and Indeed.
Is this still available?
It's out of print, but there are copies like this that have been copied and
It's actually,
circulated
It's
around.
online somewhere.
I
'cause
did-
got a
should
copy.
be.
yeah, I did save it to the Know It Now files. the
Okay.
Files
Okay.
folder. And I think I labeled it just as open spaces. I've known Bruce, at the time, Bruce and Patty put this together for at the time, Norwood Public Access show, in conjunction with the open space master plan that was being put together. Neither one of them really claimed ownership to it, other than the fact that their names appear on it. So I asked them if it would be all right if, and we do have permission to use this to our heart's content. But it is it's a good document.
Yeah.
Gives a lot of good background information on all of these locations, so.
And then this is their map.
Yep, so this is their map. We've kind of expanded it a little bit more, but So what we did is we carved out, using Hennessy and Endine as our examples. We carved out the couple of the pictures and the detail, like that detail from Hennessy. So we've incorporated that page and I think the next page from Hennessy in the Historical Society presentation. So we're just doing a little mix and match. Yeah, so this page and the next one from Endine as well. But these, Linda especially started off by saying that what their goal is, in addition to giving us an opportunity, which is great, giving us an opportunity to spread the word a little bit more. Ultimately, what Linda's vision, and I'm sure Patty would share the same thing, is that if we could combine the trails outreach with the historical aspects of some of these properties, that would really provide further background to, why is Endine called Endine, and what used to take place on Endine, and why is Hennessy, what's the history on Hennessy and Shattuck. The piece I didn't pick Shattuck basically because I couldn't find a good and up-to-date map of Shattuck. But the history that's in this document about Shattuck is really, it provides a lot of good information on Shattuck Park. But that's the kind of thing that, we're going into the Historical Society presentation with that in mind of how can we combine, join forces and present basically a combined effort.
Yeah.
All of you folks who are on the Historical Society, I think.
Hey, Joe, on that,
Makes sense? Yeah.
To them, I think I mentioned at the last meeting, or maybe it was at Vic's house, but, you do that, I mean, when we do the kiosks, which hopefully on some of the trails will come sooner than later, we can do, you do your trail map, and then and you see this on most parks, you see it on most, they give, if you're at the borderland, they give a little history of where the land came from and that, I mean, you can do a one-page thing on the kiosk and Endine, whatever we call it, Endine walking trails or whatever, and a little history of the Endine farm, and I think kind of what, maybe that's one of the things they're looking for. Is that kind of like what you're?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
that'd be
somebody's
great.
looking at the map and they can say, okay, this is the history of, where this land come from. This is the history of, how we got to where it is. This, who the Endines were and that kind of thing. And down at the Winter Street, this is the dump. You were walking up somebody's old bathtub.
That might be on one of the latter pages.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they're looking for,
Yeah.
and that, and also I think we talked about a link to their like downtown historic housing trail.
Yeah.
It's a trail. It's just not through the woods. It's through historic homes,
Right.
and somehow link.
Working
like-
together with
It's like the
them.
Freedom Trail is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Sue's expertise to make that connection, but
Some of their,
just the idea guy.
this Historical Society's webpage is not, it's thin.
It's very.
Yeah.
Isn't,
Yes, it is.
how's that for a word?
That's a good word.
There's not a lot there, but just in talking to Patty, especially Patty Fanning, she has, I don't know, she said she had at least 5 or 6 different walking trails through downtown, historical walking trails through downtown. So that would be we wouldn't be able to incorporate that in the town website because they're a private
Right.
entity, but we could certainly attach a link and, if they could put together their own detail that was accessible online, then, we could certainly build a bridge to it. But that's kind of, Sue has been working on this, this presentation, the PowerPoint to be presented to the Historical Society. I think it's in, it's in decent shape, and it might take 15 minutes to go through the whole PowerPoint, but certainly that would give us a half an hour to 45 minutes of Q&A, and wouldn't it be great if conversations?
Yeah, it should be a good meeting.
Yeah.
Is this the primary program with the Historical Society that night besides the annual meeting?
I believe
That's
it is,
correct.
yeah.
Good, that's fine.
Yeah.
And a number, they didn't, Linda didn't say how many people would be there, but she said a good number of their members were at the library presentation. So, and they reached out to us, and
So
Okay.
yeah, I would anticipate in the 20 to 30
I would,
probably.
Yeah.
They use that space in the day house where the dining table, the dining room is, and into the big foyer hall if there's an
Great
overflow.
hall, yeah.
So it's about that number, and then they have a afterwards social tea.
In the living room. In the parlor, I'm
And-
sorry.
parlor. Nice.
They have two places that everybody sort of mingles
Yeah.
in the parlor, they
They've
grab their
they've
goodies up.
they've used a couple different places
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
pouring the tea and
Nice.
so it's a nice evening, and it'll go. Remind me, Joe, is it 7 or 7:30?
Their meeting, I was just
Usually
gonna look that up.
7:30, but I wouldn't swear to it, because it has varied from time to time.
And while I'm electronically cruising here, would it be open to the public or not?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes,
It
yes.
is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
They're not gonna turn
Used to
anyone
give
away.
treasury reports. If I remember, I used to always get my treasury report.
The business part of the meeting takes like 5 minutes. So
Yep.
we should be ready to go when the
Oh, and
meeting
just be
begins.
glad that it only takes 5 minutes, because it used to take forever.
Good,
That's
good.
when Ernie was on.
No.
Depends on what,
No, this is way back.
No,
depends on
no,
the
when I was
list of
treasurer,
things
it
to
was
do
if
on
you
the
do that.
house.
Oh, yeah, the list of things to do in the house, but I mean, this is when you had, as what my mother used to call the ancient and honorables, each of whom had to stand and give a 15-minute report
Nice.
Well, I'm glad it changed.
in excruciating detail.
Making
Yeah.
historical significance. So she said, just bear with me 1 second.
And John, how did your presentation go tonight in front of the selectmen?
It went well, yeah. Sorry that I'm late.
Is that for Earth Day?
Yeah, we were promoting the Earth Week events to the selectmen upstairs. We had a representative from the Norwood High School Environmental Youth Coalition with us because we've been working with them for the last 6 months on different activities. So they were presenting to the board as well.
So would you be, that's one of our topics,
That'll be the next one up, but this is close out the
Yeah.
Historical
Yep,
Society
so-
Day,
Sorry, so it's
April 24th.
April 24th at the Day House. Set up anytime between 6:30 and 6:45. The meeting starts at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Our meeting starts at 7 p.m. with a short actual members meeting before the presentation, which optimally should start around 7:30. 45 minutes is a good time limit, so that people can have refreshments. No tea in the parlor, but
No, they
Together.
usually do the refreshments afterwards.
and ask questions and be home at a reasonable hour.
Mhm.
So, open to the public. Day House. Be a great chance to see the Day House if people haven't already seen it.
Mhm.
What's the address?
93 Days Street.
93 Day Street.
Day Street.
On-street parking.
Okay, great. We will circulate this as a draft
You just may want
PowerPoint.
to check to make sure that you have the right electronics. Check with them,
Yeah,
because you never know if they're gonna have they have a screen, or they used to have the screen, but I don't know if they're gonna, how you're gonna be able to,
well, they have a projector, but it's a matter of matching the cables.
yeah, that's
Right.
always an
So,
issue, and then,
you
they
should-
had one where they used to have to put a
So if
CD in
it's-
it, a
Oh,
DVD, or
trust
whatever
me,
it
I
was
remember.
called.
Yeah.
Yep,
Thanks,
so
Louis.
All right, so
So she said, just to that point, if you have any more questions, let me know. If I can't answer them, I'll pass them on to Brian Burns. And she said either bring a thumb drive or a laptop, and so we're good.
okay.
Thank you.
I'd say bring both.
Yes.
Insurance is good. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Chair?
Seen those go south too often.
Now let's continue with the
Okay.
with the agenda then.
Okay.
Go back to the
Earth-
Earth Day.
Earth Day?
Just so John's complete, here's the agenda for them.
Thank you. So if John were to walk in and give us, we'd ask him to give us a quick update on Earth Day, and our subcommittee could certainly chime in.
Sure. Yeah. So we met last week to talk about Earth Day. It was Lee, Ernie, and I. Who else was there?
And Vic.
I was.
Vic
It
was
says
there.
out.
I guess Vic was there.
And Jerry.
And Jerry, yeah. So the subcommittee.
And Joe.
And Joe, yeah, so
And
the
Joe.
and Sue,
And
yeah.
Sue was there.
And Sue was there,
Sat on
too.
the floor, but
The-
Sue was there.
I wasn't.
The,
It's a
subcommittee.
big
okay.
subcommittee.
That's
all-
the end of the table.
We like to be
Nobody
inclusive.
ever
no?
Well, I
invites the
think
check
the-
writers,
the-
right?
That's right.
Presentation
It was a
subcommittee
dual, yeah.
was meeting.
Dual
It was a
meeting.
dual
Full meeting.
As far as the
Right,
Earth
right.
Day subcommittee is concerned, so Jerry's gonna be doing the Indian cleanup, and Vic's gonna be doing the Hennessy cleanup.
Hennessy and the ballpark.
Hennessy in the
Murphy,
ballpark, yep,
yeah.
Murphy Field, yep. And so you can go to progressnorwood.org to sign up for the event. The cleanup is Sunday, April 28th at 9:30 a.m. And trash bags and gloves will be provided. After that, Town Common Lee is going to be setting up the table at the Town Common. And yeah, most of us will be up there to help them with that. But the Town Common Sunday at 11:30 to 1:30 for the community picnic and fair. So we'll have a table set up with handouts. Ernie's gonna have some pictures, wildlife pictures available. There'll be some maps as well.
What time can we start setting up at the Common?
Yeah, there'll be some Progress Norwood members there probably around 10 o'clock to start showing people around and showing you where to set up exactly. So if you want to help, clean up for a half hour, 45 minutes, or even till 10:30 and then head over, it only takes 15-20 minutes to set up. I mean,
Right.
you should be able to do at least an hour cleanup and then kind of shoot over and, get the table set up with all the stuff, yeah.
How many, do you anticipate, how many booths or organizations, I guess, set up there?
Yeah, we have, right now we have about 20 set up.
Really?
Yeah,
Good.
so last year we had 12 and we've added 8. We're thinking, depending on the size and the scope, we may have to extend to both sides of the gazebo. Yeah, so that would be
Wow,
it's a good
pretty
problem.
That's a good
Take-
problem.
Yeah, taking over the common, but we're very fortunate that groups are reaching out to us in order to increase.
Any of the scout troops?
Yep,
Good.
42 is going to be there. Yep.
Good.
So that's everything on Sunday, the 28th then?
That is everything on Sunday the 28th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we did,
Yeah, see that?
you wanna talk to that?
So we made up some, a couple banners and some business cards. What we
Cool.
did is, the banners itself was like, the one, we were trying to get about the size that we had before, which was 6 feet by 1 foot. But the closest we could have with the printer, that online printer that was cheap, was 6 foot by 2.5 foot. So we did it this way, printing out
Okay.
one, and then we're just gonna cut it in half, and then we'll have 2 banners. So, and they'll be a little
Hmm.
bigger than the ones we have now. So, and they'll have grommets on like the top, both tops. So it'll look like that.
It's easy to put grommets into them if you need to.
Yeah, but they'll each one, once you cut in half, will have 3 at the top, which will be pretty much
Yeah.
It would-
pretty key. So that'll be
Yeah.
good. And then the business cards, we made like some business cards to hand out with the email address on it and stuff.
Right.
Good.
So, all that.
So we did, at the subcommittee meeting, we said we'd take the tables, I don't know if, as far as the common is concerned, if there will be tables available, but Jerry was gonna take the table and bring it to the common, and Vic, I don't know if you had access to a table, but when you close up shop at
And,
Endine,
or
Hennessy.
Hennessy.
at Hennessy, I mean, then you can just bring your stuff to the common.
Yeah.
I thought Jerry was gonna grab a tent out of the,
He-
Yeah, he said he was gonna
Back to
grab
cover,
2
yeah.
tents.
So whatever he has at Endine, he's gonna bring back to the common and return it. So, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, it's great.
I did take a walk on Hennessy, just to kind of remind myself what it looked like, but Vic, have you taken a walk around your?
I have, but I haven't taken a spring walk yet,
Okay.
and I hope to do that by this weekend.
Okay. It would be helpful, since we don't really know how many people will show up,
Yeah.
it would be helpful, obviously, if we had a task list.
Mm.
Right.
Small, medium, and large. Hennessy, the area, the kind of the high side by at the Pleasant Street side.
Mm-hmm.
There's some real significant trash piles up in that,
Yeah,
Yeah,
up in that side. The main trail going from Murphy Field,
it's pretty clean,
it's pretty clean.
yeah.
There's a lot of trees and branches down, but there's not a lot of trash there, but there was some real serious other stuff on the Pleasant Street side
by the painted rock.
by the
Yeah,
painted
yeah,
rock.
we see a lot from
Yeah.
the street.
Yeah,
Now, should we be trimming or anything like that during that time, or just picking up trash?
I think we're scheduled just to pick up the trash.
Yeah, I don't think you have that enough time to pick up trash and, I mean, it's basically only picking up trash for maybe 2 hours, right? To an hour and a half.
Hour and
so
a half, yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
probably, you're gonna have your, now, are you gonna, to your point, Joe, if you walk up from Pleasant Street Field up towards Pam's Market, that left-hand side, I mean, are you gonna have them walk up the sidewalk and pick trash? Is that, I mean, are we gonna let them go up the sidewalk and pick?
I'll leave
Off
that,
the str-
I'll
off the
leave that
street.
decision to the captain, but it
Alright.
but it could definitely use it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
certainly always can.
I mean, if you had more people than you really needed, you could
Yeah.
send them out there, but I'd concentrate on the trail first.
You know, and I was saying earlier that I walked the Father Max Trail, and, you know, and then I came out, and there was like a camp set up. It kind of disturbed me because they had some chairs around it and
Oh,
all
is it
that.
back?
Oh, yeah.
Pardon?
Are they back?
No, someone threw everything in the pond, you know, the little pond there. And then when you take there's a trail that comes out right behind the Savage Center, and that has a couple trees that have to be taken down there, but, that are blocking it, so you go around it, but when I came out, you know, and the kids were playing basketball and street hockey and all that, the trash there is amazing, how much trash is just, and there's barrels there, but they just must throw it over the fence and not even care, I mean, that, there was an amazing amount of trash, and I was very disappointed to see that.
Hmm.
You know, you don't see that in the winter, buried.
It's covered in the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But when you're out there, and this pertains to the Earth Day cleanup effort, will there be places or provisions for stuff that might fall into the category of hazardous materials?
yes, we have cones, what they called?
Yep, so we have like soccer cones, soccer practice cones, and if we do find anything hazardous like sharps, we can put the cone over it, and then we're gonna be providing a non-emergency phone number to call so that the police
Okay.
can come
Okay.
and
And
remove the sharps.
the question about, would we be trimming or clearing, that they,
No,
I
guess
would be,
not.
I would be very concerned about that, because then you're encouraging people who don't have the training
Right,
to do
right.
it, and
Right.
God knows what you're gonna get.
Yeah, and plus, if we do the, you know, the Pleasant Street side of it, I imagine there's a lot of trash there,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that people throw out of their car and all that. And it's amazing that they still do it.
I see it
you
in
know,
my
it's
neighborhood.
crazy, Yeah,
It just-
Front of my
it's
house.
disgusting.
Just be careful on that road, 'cause that's a main road.
it's a main
Yes,
road,
it is
yeah.
a
My
main road,
fence
yeah.
is just covered with trash everywhere.
Did- Sorry.
No.
So we did, since the majority of these trails, like on Earth Day, the ending is under the management of, or I can't remember, owned by or under the management of the Conservation Commission.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you. So anytime we
According
go,
to this.
Binary question, and you answer yes,
Anytime-
thank you.
anytime there's an event on any one of these properties, whether it's managed by the Light Department or like Shattuck Park is the Board of Selectmen or the Conservation Commission, we always need to get you always need to get approval from the governing body, from the owning body, before we do anything on this. So, to that end, we have an appointment on April 17th to meet with the Conservation Commission, to talk about Earth Day officially, even though you and Katie had discussions with Al, and Lee's been on board with this. We still need to get their approval to go on, forgetting about cutting,
Mm.
the word cut shall not be used,
Right.
but just cleaning up requires their approval.
So, this topic did come up in the last Conservation Commission meeting, and the agent's report. And Al asked me to do a very quick summary because he had received a number of communications to clarify those, and so I did, to the best of my ability, bring up the activities around Andean and the Earth Day cleanup, and everybody seemed to be on board with that, although we didn't take an official vote. So we did indicate that somebody from the trails was officially gonna come at our next conservation meeting on that 17th, so.
We've been, the Trails Committee, Trails Advisory Committee has been hired in a consulting role at no fee to assist Progress Norwood on Earth Day. So we're acting as a consultant, also sitting at the table. We're happy to join. But it's a joint effort basically that day, so. But that's a kind of a blanket statement for all of time, as long as that means, as long as that takes. But anytime we go, you know, even if we have, technically we should have, back in the fall, we should have gotten approval, and I can't remember if we did or not, to go out onto Endine with the Progress Norwood group.
We're learning as we go.
Yes, we are. But we definitely want to build that relationship and just making sure we're dotting the i's and crossing the t's. Also, that weekend on Earth Day the Earth Day celebration is on Sunday, but on the Saturday on April 27th, the Neponset Watershed is hosting their own version of Earth Day, but specifically they're on a mission. They want to try to clear up Hawes Brook between Washington Street and Dean. So they have done their own research, and they found there's a whole gaggle of trash both in the river and in the brook, as well as on the banks of the brook.
They're going back towards the railroad bridge?
Yeah.
So where the
Yes.
duck race is?
Yep.
Okay.
9 to 12, so they'll definitely be off campus well before
So
that.
the ducks will really fly.
Yeah, they'll have a
Well,
clean
There'll be no
piece
impediments,
of waterway.
World record duck
like a
race.
greased
Well,
something.
Yeah,
Do
So
it
they have-
after getting any dead ducks.
maybe they'll be able to
Should
canoe
be a
again
judge.
there.
Formula winner.
No.
So they'll-
Just saying.
no.
So they are looking for volunteers that day, but there is also the possibility, and I said, well, this is definitely your, as they say, this is your monkey, but it's the Neponset Watershed is also on the agenda for that April 17th event. They did cite the possibility and the desire to scale back some of the brush and runners that are impeding the flow of the brook. Again, the Trails Committee is not leading that charge, but we've been invited to participate, so.
That's good.
And what time on the 17th, 27th?
The 27th is 9 to 12.
9 to 12.
We are gonna meet at Hawes Pool. They're gonna bring, the Neponset Watershed is bringing all of the tools and gloves and you name it. They do have work parties, for lack of a better description, but they do have those throughout the course of the year. And this one just happens to coincide with Earth Day,
Okay.
you know, not
Plus-
coincidentally.
We'd get an idea of how they do it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, we can watch, get to see, they obviously have done this many times probably.
Yeah.
So you get a pretty good idea of how they go about what they're doing.
Particularly when you're in the brook itself.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think I might have to have my little
Go with the
did
flow.
floaties.
Yeah.
they
So
did
you
invite-
should bring boots or
I was
something.
just
Get
gonna
your
say, they
knee
did
high.
invite people to wear their
Yeah.
own waders,
Yeah,
and
waders,
feel free to jump in. But not only is it a good chance for us to see, we've now seen, I'll talk about Bob Flagg in a second, but we have seen other organizations and how they run a work party and what thinking goes into that. Which is why I ask about us going to Hawes and Endine on Earth Day not Hawes, but Hennessy and Endine, because it's up to us to direct traffic and direct volunteers. So now is a good chance for us to get the lay of the land and get organized as far as running one of these events ourselves. So the Neponset Watershed event is another opportunity for us to check that out, so. Plus, it's good, it'll be a good relationship going forward for other reasons, so. That's April 27th, 9 to 12. On Saturday and on Sunday, we begin at Hennessy and Endine at
9:30.
9:30.
9:30.
9:30. Is the public welcome to the one on the 27th?
Both, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, yep. That's Earth Day. Mother Earth.
Mother Earth.
Other outreach opportunities, newsletter. Sue and I have started to put together a newsletter. John has contributed, thank you, John, a piece about Earth Day. And Sue had the idea of coming up with basically a trail of the month.
Yes,
So
good
that
idea.
we'll include that as well.
So, yeah, do you want me to
Yeah,
speak
go ahead,
quick?
sure, please.
Well, this just kind of follows the same structure as the last one, so I thought it was kind of like a branding thing, so they'll all kind of look alike as we send them out. So it'll just start out with like a quick note from Joe, and then, I haven't edited this, but we'll have the blurb for Earth Day will be the first thing, and then the trail of the month, we figured we'll do just the quick Ellis Pond, the new location on Nichols Street, and just, have you seen this new sign, and just a little bit about that, and then just with the, kind of a nice weather thing, getting out and taking a walk, just to make it more, open for everyone, saying, have you seen these, have you been wondering about these signs, and then have the senior center walk route, that's, not a woods walk route, but it's, around town and stuff, and have the map, and kind of explain to people what these signs are, and who owns that kind of walking path, and then I thought at the end I was gonna add maybe like a quick little like upcoming calendar section, so we can always have
Yeah.
like the upcoming dates of, the next couple of trails meetings,
Yeah.
Earth Day, and just, upcoming events for them to look forward to. So I thought that would be kind of a basic structure of our newsletters, just quick, a few little, hits, a note, and then 3 items to know.
What is that sign, that little blue sign? Is that up to the senior center?
It's actually a walking path that, it starts and ends at the senior center, but, it's open for everyone, and the town has kind of sponsored it. They put those signs around, and,
It's not a
they have-
bad sign.
Yeah, they're kind
Yeah.
of, they're a little bit up above eye level, and then they have a map with the route.
I mean, it's not a bad,
So it's about,
Like
it's
at
a
the
little
college,
over a
right?
mile, and it starts and ends at the senior center, and it's just all like flat roads. I think Andy Murphy kinda designed it out as the town engineer, but, it's called just Walk Norwood, and it's a pretty easy path to walk. It's all sidewalks the whole way, crosswalks, everything is marked out. So, just, kind of now that the nice weather's here, just a little promo for their walking path there too.
If you drive along Prospect Street in the vicinity of the senior center and look to your right, if you're heading towards the cemetery, you'll see the sign that's up, as Sue says, about
Yeah, they're on the
a
telephone
little above
poles.
eye level.
I'm on my way. It's first the senior center, then the cemetery.
So,
This is as long as you're walking and not riding, you're all right.
In the back of the bottom of the-
Yeah.
So that's what, that
As long as you're not in a gurney.
So that, just a quick plug on the,
That's great.
Nice.
on the senior center.
yeah.
But that program was a result of a grant that Segal and Kerry had collaborated with. I forget if it was a state grant or not. We did give them an alternative. So this map that you see that Susan incorporated into the newsletter is, it's an all street or all sidewalk trail. But we also gave them an alternative, like a Plan B map that goes out the back and travels along the soccer field and out to the landfill and back. So it's a longer one. It's probably a 2 to 2.25 mile walk. It's a little taking into account, possible mobility issues and things like that. We tried to make it as user friendly and walker friendly as possible. But that could certainly be another avenue for us to help out with on, health, Board of Health and the senior center. Just another avenue for us to get out the message.
Do you know what they're doing or behind the soccer fields? Construction wise?
Which soccer?
They are,
At Father Max.
Oh, that's
Where all
the
that dirt-
DPW, yeah.
Where all that dirt's being pushed around.
There's dirt and then there's stone that they
There's
put down
gravel.
and then
Yeah,
there's.
that's the DPW.
They may be putting in a little parking lot down in there for the soccer fields, because parking is limited up
No, I
there.
think Mark was just clearing the area.
You know, I thought,
Oh,
okay.
back in the
That's-
corner there?
That's part of the easement that they've now cleared, that runs from the soccer fields out to, is it Silver Street?
Yeah,
that
well,
so?
it's not, well, they knocked down some trees going to there, yeah, but we still have to cross the little river there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
And then it's very wet just before Silver Street.
Oh, I thought you were talking about where the
But-
road comes down behind.
But,
the
well,
road.
that's what I was, but it's been like that for a while, and they
Hmm.
put the stone down, but now it's like a lake right where they didn't put the stone down, so unless they are trying to let vehicles go through there for some reason,
Don't know.
but I don't know, but right now it's hard to traverse that way. You'd almost have to cut through the soccer fields.
But, so that's the condition of the newsletter, Lee?
Do you need a consensus from the rest of the committee members that
I,
accept this format?
we absolutely will, so we're gonna fill in the blank, as Sue said in the beginning here, everything else is pretty much in good shape.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's very good.
Sue, can you just scroll up a little bit,
That's the
Down.
top.
down or what,
That's the
whatever?
top. Yeah.
Okay, no, right under the letterhead, back up, up, up.
I didn't
up.
finish that one yet.
All right. Should we have, under the newsletter, especially the first couple, should we throw our mission statement in there someplace, under the letterhead?
Good thought.
Just no?
Yeah.
I think we should.
Comments?
Somewhere on
Do
there.
you
Or
want
it
me down
can-
the bottom?
Is it
Maybe
in
the
there?
bottom.
Did I miss
It's
it?
at the bottom, I
How
think
about at
it's,
the bottom too, we could do it there.
Oh, wherever.
Yeah.
I-
It should
I-
be in there.
I'm sorry, if I missed it, I apologize.
It's not there now though, right?
No, it's not there.
No, but I
Yeah,
think
can
it's-
put it in.
I think putting it at the bottom is better than putting it at the
Yeah,
top,
I-
because it
whatever.
stops people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Blah,
Good,
blah,
good
blah.
idea.
Okay.
I mean, just, especially the first couple or something,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
whatever,
great.
people. I think that should be anything we do for the first
Year.
year, I mean.
It should be
until-
there anyway all the
Yeah.
time.
I mean, it's not long, it's not that long, it doesn't,
Right.
you know, it doesn't take up a lot of ink.
Okay.
You have to set type.
Brought to you by Ernie Pachakowski, the head of our branding and marketing
I
department.
got some ideas, Joe, at the end of the
Of
meeting.
course you did.
Now, is this going to be online only, or is it going to have a print version?
Just on.
Think
Printed
online
as-
At the moment.
Yeah.
As
It's gonna be an
needed,
email that goes out if someone wants to print it.
I mean, if you want to print it, it'd make a good handout
Sure, we could put it.
for that Earth Day thing.
We could do that, we could have not too many, because we don't wanna kill too
Yeah,
many
right.
trees, but,
Mm.
but what I was actually thinking of is if we sent I don't know, 20 or 25 copies up to the senior center, that might be a good place to, since we're
Sure.
giving them a plug, sort of, and vice versa.
Yep.
But yeah, we could leave some at the library, at Earth Day.
We should do something with Earth Day with our mission statement, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
So
of
that
things I
boost-
see, excuse me,
Go, no, Mulder.
no, a lot of things I see printed with that green background and white text are pretty illegible, especially to somebody who's over a certain age.
27. Yeah.
27.
Yeah,
Or flip it, yeah. Anyway, that,
okay.
I find trouble reading some of them. And so I think we should just do a quick test print to see how it looks.
Sure. Could do that.
I mean, it might need to just make the green a little darker or something to make it easier to
idea.
read.
Yeah.
Got it there.
Hmm?
No, the map. That's
Yeah.
it.
We do, no, that's, all these are good ideas. We did have about 175 email addresses from Noah Day, but we collected another, I think 80 or 85 at the library.
Good.
So we're up to somewhere north of 200, almost 275.
Great.
That's
Yeah,
We'll
excellent.
do, we'll do something on Earth Day at the tent.
Yep,
Yeah,
definitely have a,
definitely, yeah.
we talked about that as one of the, and both at the tent and also at Hennessy and Dean, have a sign up, you know, give us your email
Good.
address. We are still in negotiations with Tony as far as a Facebook page, and we haven't made much progress at all, but everybody's kind of focused on town meeting.
Yeah.
But that's still on the list as well. But yeah, we'll come up with some amount of printed copies of this and spread them around town a little bit. So is it all right, so with, I don't know if that's where
Looks
we
great.
headed, but,
Yeah, that's,
okay,
let's go with
Two
that
thumbs
format
up.
and
Great
Okay.
work.
great.
put it together.
Okay. Sue's, it's all Sue's handiwork.
Team Sue?
Um, Annual town meeting, so along the lines of Ernie and his marketing department, just putting out a little blurb about, annual town meeting. So one of the committee, at the beginning of every town meeting, there's, I think it's Article 2, any reports from committees. So I wouldn't necessarily make any kind of presentation, but, what I had thought of is, something that has the mission statement and a little bit about the committee, maybe some copies of the newsletter.
Introducing the committee to the town,
Yep, right.
Yeah.
basically.
We would put the maps, get a couple of copies of the big, blown up versions of the maps and put them out in the lobby. And just try to, you know.
Just say in the last year, we've become a
Yeah.
town advisory committee under the, stewardship of the town manager or whatever, and this is our mission statement, and we're, basically just getting started, but, come join us.
Sure, yeah. So that's in the works, and that's trying to get Earth Day and the Historical Society out of the, kind of under our belts and underway. But that annual town meeting would be the next event on our calendar.
Should we all try to show up there?
Sure, absolutely. You will anyway, because of your incredible civic pride and interest in town meeting, but, yeah, exactly.
Been there, yeah.
And that,
So, can I ask, who are town meeting members in our committee? Now, I know John and Ernie.
And Sue.
Sue, thank you.
Are you?
No,
No? Joe?
yes, sir.
Joe is,
Yeah,
Joe,
Joe is,
Sue,
yeah.
Ernie,
Okay.
John.
Yep.
You won it last year?
District 6.
What do you say?
Great.
Very important. Town meeting is very important. Everybody sits in their
Yeah.
seat.
It is an important question.
It's, with all these new people, you gotta get there early to get your seat.
I got you.
You got a seat. Now, where I sit in the same place. We have a row.
Over to the
Are we
right.
in the
John
annual,
Hall,
Halfway up.
Paulie C, myself.
are we in the annual report?
We're
No.
not in the annual report yet.
No.
Yeah.
I think they put that out to press like a month ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good point.
For next year.
Next year.
Yeah,
Next
We'll
year,
introduce ourselves this year.
there you
we'll have to generate a report
go.
to
That,
the town manager.
Yeah.
that, I'm gonna, under other, if you'll bear with me, but we did get the NOAA Day booth invitation.
Oh, good.
Fair to assume that we wanna do it again,
Mm-hmm.
and the date of NOAA Day is,
Where's Jerry?
September 7th,
Oh, yeah. I was on it.
and we need our application fee in by June 1st.
Off in line with that, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
So
Not last year we won.
so
I will fill it out.
Travis kind of took it over.
So, that, we don't,
13 years.
formally, we don't have anything on the agenda between Maytown meeting and NOAA Day, but we definitely wanna keep up our walks, but, we should really, in line with, I'm not sure if I actually put it on the list here, but, I did wanna try to include a brief summary of our activity with Bob Flagg about Blue Hill, Friends of Blue Hills. But we should definitely try to have our own work events or other kind of community volunteer days over the course of the summer, if possible.
It would be great to schedule a cleanup
Yeah.
and trail maintenance in the summer.
Should we be scheduling a walk every month? A different one every month?
Excellent, capital idea, yes. So when we get to calendar down below here, we would definitely want to put that on there.
What was Norwood Day? What's the date for Norwood Day again? Sorry.
September 7th.
Gotcha.
It's usually the Saturday, not the Saturday after Labor Day.
Well, it is that, it is the Saturday after Labor Day.
weekend.
Are we, I understand that we're invited to participate in the Friends of the Blue Hills weekend activities, but have we scheduled anything with Bob Flagg for us to go and see, get some more training and see how how they're doing things.
He's given us an open
Invitation.
invitation.
Show up
Yeah.
and he starts when? What time? Is it 8:30 or so at Houghton's Pond? Well, what time did you guys show up?
I think it was around 8:30.
Yeah.
Do you have his business card with, oh, I know it is.
I don't know.
Do you have that email or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to schedule a walk with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if we could schedule a walk with him around some of our properties.
He'd like to do that.
Yeah, so we could get he could get
He's
a
probably
sense.
done it.
Yeah, he probably has, but
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
go with him would be
But
useful.
he expressed that he'd like to
Good.
walk with us through the different trails.
I'm just looking up his next.
And I think he walks almost every Saturday, hikes every Saturday and Sunday.
So his call for volunteers at the Friends of Blue Hills, the next event is May 18th. Actually, I don't know if this is right or not.
That's a Saturday.
So we'll find out. He's got one in April, April 20th,
Okay.
and then the one after that is May 18th. So it's one of these show up at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning at Houghton's Pond,
9 a.m.
9 a.m. And they have them once a month. They'll, depending on how many people.
Business card holder.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Depending on how many people show up, they'll distribute the crowd accordingly, and they'll
Mhm.
have, this is where it's important to have a list of tasks to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have
Yeah.
10 people and it's cruddy weather, then you go to plan A, but if you have 40 people and it's beautiful sunny day, then get the big bang for the buck, and you go well down the list and have 5 different things for people to do, so. It's all dependent, that's why, that was, when we took a walk with Bob a couple of times last weekend, he was basically doing his research and making his list for the next work day.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Um,
it's his card.
Yeah,
My experience on leading walks for the Appalachian Mountain Club on Earth Day has been people who are not part of the original core will see you walking around and doing things, and they just sort of join in. So you may start with 20 people and wind up with 50.
yeah, right, yeah. So I did ask him, Sue's got his business card up on the screen here. This is basically, it's a front and back business card. The front side has all the contact information, including the link to the Friends of the Blue Hills. And then the back page, although the one he sent, Sue and I noticed we're not quite sure, it says 2013. So he may have just sent us a draft of some prior one, but,
Yeah.
but
You
that,
gotta go to their website and find the work.
Yeah. but that's the kind of thing that we want to, once we get rolling and we have work events and we have dates picked, then we could put on the back of the card, come join us either for community walk or for these work party days. So once we get into the groove and put a good calendar together, this would be the type of thing that we should get to next. We'll put in an order for 500 cards, business cards, which we'll have probably next week.
Friday.
So we'll have them next week in time to spread them around prior to Earth Day, and it's got our information on it, our email address. Hand them out. Just put a note on the back. Our next, even if it's initially just handwritten on the back of the card, our next walk is, et cetera, so.
And the adopted trail that I'm looking up there, it's either individuals or sometimes they have a local company that will come in and
Yeah,
bring 20 people just as a community thing for
team
company.
building.
Team building, right.
Yeah.
So we should try to get that type of thing going also.
We're already in touch that the Adopt a Trail program, you don't necessarily have to be the person with the shovel. In a lot of,
Person with
well, that too. You could be you could foster a trail, or, take one as donate, borrow, fund a trail basically. But the Adopt a Trail program could be as simple as I walk my dog on Endine 3 times a week. So every time I'm out there, I'm just gonna look for trees down, trash, things that I need to call somebody's attention, and then when I get home, I'm gonna send a quick email to the trail's email address. And then we would then in turn send it to either the DPW or the Conservation Commission or whoever the owning body is.
Like a pothole finder.
Exactly,
Yeah.
That'll work nice.
Marty Walsh's Pothole Hotline.
You know what struck me at Blue Hills
Yeah.
also too is people were picking up the dog poop and then leaving the bag on the trail.
Right.
Right in the middle of the
Yes.
trail.
They're doing that in my neighborhood. I'm driving, this is driving me nuts.
They took the time to pick it up, at least get it out of there and put it somewhere, but they just, well,
Okay, so
I've been seeing him piled up around fire hydrants. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
So we got future, so under the heading of future group trail walks. Anybody have their calendar with them? You wanna set one now or set one later?
Yeah, let's set it now.
Go get my calendar.
Today's Tuesday, April 9th. We do have a meeting scheduled for the 23rd of April,
Mm-hmm.
7 PM at Town Hall. Earth Day is
that weekend.
that weekend, the 28th,
Mm-hmm.
27th and the 28th.
Yeah, so we're into May now.
Happy May, so much for spring. Does anybody have any time, available time in April?
I have this weekend, and then what's 2 weekends from now?
Yeah, it's
I'm
Easter.
working that Saturday, we have Easter off, but I'm working, I mean, you folks, you don't need me there, but I'm working that. And then the next weekend is Earth Day weekend, I'm off that weekend. And then you're in the May at that point.
Yeah, I don't think there's much.
So how about, unless somebody has something closer in, can I suggest May 4th or May 5th,
Neither one works for me, but go ahead.
Saturday or
Yeah,
Sunday?
and, I can't make either one of those, but that's all right.
We're almost at the point where we could actually do it weekdays in the evenings.
You actually
Getting
could,
there.
Yeah.
you know,
We could start early enough.
Like a 5:30 start or
go
something.
Wednesday night or something, or there's usually no meetings, Wednesday nights or.
We could have one of our meetings, we could have that as one of our meetings. Anybody available that May 4th or 5th?
Could do the 4th.
You mean in the
Maybe
evening?
4th, yeah.
That's
No.
just May
Sat-
4th is Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday, maybe either
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon or Sunday,
I may be able to,
Sometime.
we have a work party scheduled at the community garden for May 4th and May 5th. So if you wanna come there.
You know, you can do is the trail, you can come up through Indian, come through the
Right.
field.
Yeah, that's
Steal a couple of
right.
tomatoes, and then continue
Well,
on down.
they're not out yet,
spring tomato.
That's a little early for the tomatoes.
Peas, snap peas.
but, I may be able to do it in the afternoon.
So let's tentatively say May 4th, that Saturday in the afternoon, and we can fine tune it at our
Okay.
next meeting.
Okay.
And then likewise, at our next meeting, when we finalize this, we can figure out a destination. Things are starting, the good news is with spring, things are starting to leaf out and, get a picture of what things look like in the green. So by that time, things will certainly have popped.
And you wanna clean it up before they get buried again, with the leaves, or maybe not.
Poison ivy and all that's starting to
Yeah.
come out too, and that's.
Ticks are out.
Yeah.
I didn't see any ticks at the landfill Saturday.
Under the heading of announcements, reminders, upcoming events, so we've got Earth Day, Norwood's Earth Day, Progress Norwood Earth Day on April 28th, Sunday. We have Neponset Watershed's Earth Day, sort of, on Saturday, April 27th at 9 AM at Haas. Still talking to the Cleveland School about taking a walk on the Ellis, so that's still in the works. Still a possibility for May.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had talked to a couple of the teachers on election day because I work at that school, and they're still very excited about doing that.
Good.
So,
Marie Kidd was gonna get in touch again with the
with the principal up there.
with the principal at the Cleveland, but also I think she's got friends who are part of the science department,
Mhm.
the town-wide science department, and it was the science department that was especially interested in that
Right.
as a possibility. So that's still in the works, hopefully for May.
Good.
Yeah,
I'd like to help with that.
great. You're hired.
Do we find out whether you have to be Cory checked or anything like that?
I did ask the question, and I haven't heard an answer yet.
Okay.
But we will find
I
out.
guess it'd be too long a walk to the Willet. The trail.
kids?
Yeah, from
Yeah, that'd be
Cleveland,
too
that's a long
Yeah,
walk.
that'd be too long.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
3/4 of a mile.
I was gonna say,
maybe
take them
a
up the
mile.
hill.
Yeah, and so I think they're
Ticks.
looking at this as an educational, unit to incorporate sciences
Into
and
the,
for
Yeah.
sciences with their activity up there. So,
Items to discuss at our future meetings?
On
So-
the annual town meeting, before you leave that, what time does it start, or should we be there?
Technically, town meeting starts at 7:30 PM in the high school auditorium.
usually it's about 7:45, 20 minutes with 8.
you said we're gonna need a setup though, right?
Yep, so we'll put together kind of a presentation package, if you will, and if anybody wants to write either write or help to write, kind of a half-page Reader's Digest version of what we're all about, including, or in addition to the mission statement, that might be a good handout to have available.
Did you say Sue?
No, I did not, I did not say Sue, I didn't say anybody but Sue, but that would be a
I
good
thought you
thing.
said Sue.
Sue, can you email me? Because I don't have the wording down. I mean, I remember we did it all, but
mission
the actual
statement,
mission
send it out
statement,
again.
the actual, the final version.
It's good, that'd be good. Maybe if we have a handout, typically, anybody that's been to town meeting, there's 17,000 handouts right at the door. But if we could have a one-page summary, front of the page is a summary of what we're all about in the mission statement. Everybody's name, and back page could be that calendar, it could be what we hope to accomplish this year, it could be a half page on what we have accomplished so far, or whatever. So that, the sky's the limit. We do want to introduce ourselves and, foster additional information. But yeah, very helpful. Anybody wants to contribute to that, just speak up. Great. Before we get to any other items for the future meetings, I just wanted to, again, give a thank you once again to Bob Flagg, who was here at our last meeting, and we've seen him, a couple of us have seen him since then. We took a ride over to Blue Hills, but we will firm up those dates that he's got on the back of his business card. As far as their work parties, he was very open to coming back to Norwood. He's originally from Norwood. He was very much interested and volunteered to come on back. I could envision him taking one of our trail walks with us and just giving us his 2 cents on his expert opinion of what could be done, things to look out for, suggestions, etc. He also sent, after he left here last week, he sent an introduction on our behalf to the Neponset River watershed, to Ian Cook, and just to kind of give Ian a heads up that we do exist and here's what we're up to, and thought it was a very good follow-up on his part. So we are going to send him a T-shirt in appreciation, and hopes that he wears it proudly and hopes that he comes back for another t-shirt later.
Good.
Items to discuss in future meetings? Any thoughts, suggestions?
Have you heard from the Karen?
I haven't. I sent her a couple of emails. I told her in advance that we were going to take a walk of Germany Brook. I actually didn't hear from her either before or after that, but I will follow up with her.
And also Walpole, they want to do a walk with us.
Yep. I did get an email from Gary Riggett. He's got some things going on, and then he mentioned that they also have Maytown meeting.
Yeah.
That he's active. He's actually, I think, a member of the Walpole Conservation Commission, which is where their Trails Committee is a subcommittee of the
Yeah.
Concom. But he's very much interested in getting that on the agenda for the summer.
Should we add that?
Sure. Make it happen.
One more
John?
thing to add, so I think it was the last meeting, the subcommittee that is doing the mapping of the different trails. If we could just, I think last time we met, we talked about the different maps that were created, and I think we were asked to provide feedback or how to enhance them or other ideas around those. Maybe at the next meeting we can spend some time on those. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Want me to send them out again? Did everybody get them, or to look at, or?
Oh, I haven't.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
It was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Sending them out again might be
I
helpful.
thought what you had last time was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the real key, my only input is, and I think we talked about it that night, is just being able to reproduce them and make them consistent. So it shouldn't be, a huge
Thanks.
effort to crank them out, so.
One test might be like printed in black and white.
Oh, okay.
I did go, coincidentally, I was leaving one meeting when the Concom was getting together last week, and Steve Washburn on the Conservation Commission offered to help us out in any way possible. He does a lot of GIS work. He's on the Concom, but he also volunteered to give us any kind of assistance we needed on mapping.
Good.
So that might be a good, another good resource for us.
Who was that again?
Steve Washburn,
Okay.
WASHBURN. He would have town email address. Might be swashburn@norwoodma.gov. That April 17th meeting with the Conservation Commission, it's anybody that's available, if you want to come join us, that would be good.
It's here someplace?
It's
It's right below this room, and whatever that is, 12 or 11,
From
Okay.
12.
when they usually start at.
7:30. There's a couple of hearings on the agenda already, so.
Okay.
And I know
We'll be
Together
near the end
Yes,
of that.
Together Yes is slated to be
Yes,
there
I
also.
ran into Susan
Yes.
also,
last night.
that
That's-
prior meeting.
Yeah.
That's for the butterfly?
No, for the community
garden.
gardens,
The orchard.
report.
Oh, the
Yeah.
orchard, I'm
The
sorry.
orchard.
I see.
The orchard, yeah.
Great, good.
So, yeah, it's gonna be
Busy meeting.
It's gonna be a busy Concom meeting.
Yeah.
We've got, I think, 3 hearings already scheduled, so
Okay.
probably be an hour into the meeting when we get to the trails.
The marketing department has a few ideas. Mr.
Yeah, please do, let's get them onto the
All
calendar.
right,
Yeah, please.
so the marketing department, sitting here, came up with some ideas. This kind of ties in with Earth Day, but it probably is too late for this year. But I'm a visual person. I like stuff, I like to look at stuff, I like to look at junk, I like I don't like minimalist. As my wife says, if there's an empty corner, I gotta fill it with something. And so anyway, I like stuff in it. So this is probably too late for this year. And some of it would take a little bit of, not money, not much, but you can get, through like Oriental Trading and those things, very cheap water bottles, and you could get your logo put on them. I mean, we did this for the last hurrah, we did the koozies, and
Yeah.
it's not a lot of money.
And the two
And it's too bad, I mean, we didn't have the things, you could give them out a water bottle, ties in with trails and hiking, at, you know, to the kids at Earth Day, because hopefully, the emphasis is hopefully there's gonna be a lot of children there. It's probably too late. What we could do possibly, I know, Sue, you had those rolls of stickers. Remember we put them on the flags? I don't know, you know, I mean, we could get a couple of cases of water at BJ's, you know, and we could put stickers on actual bottles, not a plastic refillable water bottle, but an actual bottle of water with the Norwood Trails.
Yeah, but that's not environmentally
Yeah.
good.
All right, well, that's
a
not,
good idea.
okay, now you,
It's not
this
a
is the
good
Trails
idea.
Committee, this isn't the,
The reusable one, yes.
oh, this is the Earth Day, I
one,
guess,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't
All
want to
right,
bring.
all right, so we do that another day.
Go ahead,
It's
you're
not
on
Earth
a,
Day.
you're on a
These
roll.
stickers too, or?
Okay.
Yeah, something
We
like
got
that.
those
If we could, you know,
Ta-da.
We have a
Yeah.
whole case of those.
all right, I gotta
Oh,
get
good.
some. So, all right, so we don't put it on the bottle because Vic doesn't like them. But, you know, it's too late, but you can get
Well,
very
you
cheap,
should.
those cheap refillable water bottles with a logo on it, just down the road. The
Yeah.
other thing that are actually very inexpensive to get, and you see them all over the place, you see them at Ocean State Job Lot, they sell them for $10, are these walking sticks, you know, these pre-made walking sticks. You know, you see them you always see them in a bucket, you know, they sell them for $9.99 Ocean State Job Lot. You know, if we had a dozen or two of those, and you could sell them for $10 at you know, at Earth Day, it kind of, you know, walking sticks or you don't want to give the kids knives, but they, you know, you could have them make their own. I would do that,
But
but
that could be a good fundraiser. For
fundraiser
Norwood.
down the road,
Road,
down the
yeah.
road.
Yeah, for the
And the
road.
other
For
thing,
Norwood Day.
For
and the
Marketing
other-
is always thinking ahead.
and that's right. And two other things
Visionary.
is, I go to an awful lot of things up in Maine, and I go to the you know, where they have the Moose Lottery. I go to the Moxie Festival. I'm up there. They always have, and it is a draw. It's like the Pied Piper for kids. They always have a couple of game wardens there. Now we don't have game wardens, but if we could get, and I bet they probably would do it as a community thing at some event where there were a lot of kids, to get somebody in uniform from like DCR. You know, now we're promoting Norwood, obviously Norwood Trails, you know, but the DCR, you know, Borderland State Park and all, you know, all these DCR properties have got tremendous trail systems, you know, and maps, and you get a guy in a uniform, or you get an environmental policeman, or you get I don't know if they call them game wardens in Massachusetts, but we have something similar, and you know, they come down with one of their vehicles and I tell you, these guys, and they're in the uniform, and they are like Pied Pipers to kids.
Kind of like a toucher truck.
Yeah, and they just, and the guy could talk about, you know, to the kids, and the kids just love to see the guy, and you know, DCR, I was thinking a DCR guy because they control an awful lot of hiking trails throughout the state. But you know, I don't know, what do they call them in Massachusetts? They don't call them game wardens, do they? They call them environmental police or...
Yeah.
Well, Norwood has had its own game warden
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Jim Bunny.
no,
Lived on Plimpton Ave.
we get
Henry.
Henry to come down
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the
Animal
but
control.
he's more animal control.
He's animal control, yeah.
But, you know, so maybe in the future, if we have an event where there's a lot of kids,
Yeah.
you get one of these guys to come down ahead of time, or a guy from the Trailside Museum, you know, bring an owl down or something, and whatever. But they are like, I see it in Maine all the time. Every festival I go to up there, there's always a couple of Maine game wardens, and they're like Pied Pipers. Kids get their picture taken with them, they're sitting on the truck, you know, and it's, and these guys, and a lot of them, it's community, you know, they outreach for them, and they love doing it.
DCR is a great idea, but with the Friends of the Harbor Islands, whenever we try to get a DCR person, they say, and that'll cost you so much per day.
Yeah, well, see, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In other words, we gotta pay basically.
So,
pay
yeah,
salary.
but in that vein.
But it's a good idea. I
in
mean, you've
that
got lots
vein,
of good ideas, and I think they're
in
all
that vein.
fantastic.
And it
You just have to
teaches
look-
the kids,
Yeah,
you know,
you figure the
yeah, there you
expense.
go.
Then we dress you up in a moose costume and walk out
Yeah, there we
in a
go.
mascot.
Oh, I gotta tell
Here we
you,
go.
when Northwood's Law was on, when the Maine Northwood's Law was on, I was up at the Moose Festival in Bethel, Maine, and a couple of the guys from Northwoods Law was on. The line, you thought Bobby Orr was signing autographs. Well, the line was 200. I got my picture taken with two of them. I was a kid in a candy store.
That's funny.
I had like 200 kids in line waiting to see Parker from Northwoods Law. You know, it's like.
That's great, great idea.
Good,
So-
good ideas, Mark.
But maybe the stickers though, maybe even if we had, Sue, if we could get a roll of those stickers,
Yeah.
and even at the table, we
Yeah.
could give them out to kids or
Yeah.
something.
Stickers are good.
Yeah, and
they
then put them on their
are. And they're
foreheads.
nice looking stickers.
But even if, you know, the water bottle idea, not the generic reusable water bottle,
Yeah,
you can get them from Oriental Trading
Right.
unmarked,
And we put our stickers on.
fast.
right.
Yes.
Whereas if you need to have them develop a,
Now I don't know if that place on Morgan Drive is still there.
Darts.
Darts.
who's?
Darts. Are they still? It's basically the same type of thing as
Yeah.
Oriental Trading. And
Well, if they're local, they might give us a break.
let me.
I'd
Maybe
love it,
Friday
Scott.
morning
She
I'll
used to
take
do
a
that all
ride
the
down
time.
and see if they
Yeah, yeah.
what they're getting for them. And then we could put the stickers on them or something, and I'll find out just for giggles.
That sounds
But
great.
those are just, I'm sitting here and these are just things, you know.
It's great, thank you.
Good.
All right, very good,
You're
Karen.
Yeah.
a brainstormer.
This is
Yes.
good.
Stop it.
Anybody else have anything for upcoming meetings? I'm gonna throw 3 things on there myself, if I could. I did talk to Segal about tick control and things to watch out for and such. The health department has a pamphlet that they give out and they have available here. But I also talked about having something online that we could link into and just make it public. Gary Riggett actually from Walpole sent me, it's basically a
Yeah, I saw
business.
that, yeah.
You saw that? It's basically a business card, or smaller than a business card, but on one side it identifies the size, like if it's a, I don't know, dog tick and wood nymph and
Deer tick.
deer tick, etc., what size, how to identify them. And on the back side there was care, steps to
We can get some. of those
steps to
on the
control them,
table.
steps to avoid them, etc. So,
Those pamphlets.
but
Yeah.
that would be something that we could, if we could get a little public service announcement going on about ticks especially.
So this already exists?
I'm sorry?
This kind of thing already exists? We wouldn't have to develop it?
Yep, Gary suggested we just get in touch with the state, Beacon Hill, the Department of Public Health, and they would make them available. I think he said he orders some every year, and we could,
We could get some for the table.
Yeah,
yep, absolutely, yep. So I'll get on that, but
Great.
the whole idea about having somebody come in, whether it's a gal or somebody else, to talk about tick prevention and such.
will they have a booth at Earth Day?
They will.
They-
Yeah, good.
Oh, the Board of Health will?
Yeah.
Oh, so they'll have that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Give us a TikTok.
yeah, last,
TikTok.
Speaking of-
at last year's event, I had them from the health department. They didn't have a booth last year, but they have one this year, so they'll have them available
Good.
there.
The
I
next,
saw her last night too.
I did too.
next thing I wanted to
Right
stick
next to
on
the
a,
principal.
next thing I wanted to stick on a May meeting. I did talk to a young man who lives in Norwood. He's a Boy Scout in one of the Walpole troops. His name is Ryan Larson, and he wants to do his Eagle project. And he worked on the Adams Farm kiosks with, I forget the scout's name, but there was a Walpole scout that got his Eagle Scout as, and that was his project, is to build and do fundraising, build and install kiosks at Adams Farm. So Ryan likewise wants to undertake that. Doesn't necessarily have to be kiosks, but anything that we wanted to steer him in the direction of. He and I, and his dad came, his dad's active in the troop as well. But I would like to invite him in that meeting in May.
May
He's got some-
14th,
He's got some great ideas.
okay.
Okay, good.
So, and he's, just as we had Noah Kearns come in last fall
Mhm.
to talk about ending, but I think if Ryan came in, it would be a good give and take, and we
Mhm.
could kind of
Good.
channel his efforts.
Good.
And that, to have that done over the summer would be a good, have his project completed over the summer would be good for him and good for us as well, so.
Good.
what troop is he affiliated with?
I think he's in 44,
Okay.
which is a Walpole troop, but he lives in Norwood. He actually lives on Mylott Street,
Right.
right at the upper end of the Indy. So,
So we have on our agenda Indian to Walpole kind of connection.
Sure,
Is there something
Sure.
possibly there?
absolutely. Good time.
When when Toll Brothers developed the Bird Estate, did they put in any walking trails in behind the homes or
I think they
anything?
chopped down everything.
Yeah.
They didn't,
They-
they
Clear cut.
didn't,
There's some
Clear cut.
space, but it's not very wide. from
okay,
what
I didn't know if
saw.
they, part of the plan there was to put a walking trail for the neighborhood in there.
There is a
No.
trail that goes from Mylod's, the bottom of Mylod Street over to that Dog Rock on Plimpton Street
Mm.
in Walpole. It's in pretty rough shape. It was somebody's Eagle project a while back and it never got kept up. But I believe it's totally in Walpole. But
It's
it's,
a pretty dangerous bridge to cross there. Is that,
well, you
or
have-
you'd be coming up by the railroad tracks probably, to that Dog Rock.
I don't know I've not
'Cause
done
that's
it
right at
myself.
the bend.
Well, that's
At
why
some
we're
point, you
trying,
have to cross the river.
River.
yeah, we're trying to figure the link between, you know, the Endine Trail that ends at one of the ends of
At
the
Mylod.
streets. No, that was the street off Mylod,
Ryan Drive.
Ryan
Ryan
Drive,
Drive.
and so you go up,
Yeah.
you know, that's the connection, go up
Through the
Ryan
neighborhood.
Drive and then cross and then go onto the Walpole side. And they wanna connect to us to help connect to their trail for the
Depending on
future.
But then
where
it
their
doesn't-
trail
And
ends.
that's
not
what we
the other
have
one
to,
down
that's
that's
why we
further-
need to meet with him again, but he's
Yeah.
busy now, because they wanna do that because you get more funding if you're linking to other towns. And
Yeah,
that sounds like it could be a fairly easy link. I'm not sure.
Depending on where
so
their
that's
trail
different from the
ends and
trail that's
starts.
further down near the Hoagie Bear Factory.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah. But, well, that somehow links to that, I believe.
Oh, no, as I said, I
It's a long
haven't
way.
walked it myself. I know people
Yeah, I
who have.
haven't either. I'm gonna try that.
And then the last thing I wanted to add to our agenda for the future, but not too distant future, is to have once we get a trail, the mapping, once we get rolling with that, to have a marking, like a trail marking
Yeah.
exercise.
Yes.
I talked to Ernie and Vic about it
Yeah.
before, but basically, how do we standardize like that,
The
logo,
red.
the logo, that's the brand, right? How do we come up with a uniform logo?
Yeah.
What kind of marking do we wanna have?
It's
and all
2x6 white paint.
that? Excellent, that's certainly a solution.
On a birch tree.
And the Blue Hills uses that all the time, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
But I would like to, we wanna keep making progress and we wanna be visible and we wanna be as beneficial as possible to the community, so.
And again, that was part of the, I'm sure with you, when we did the Blue Hills with Bob Flagg,
yeah.
he was showing us the reason why the marks and what they are all about and all that.
I mean, do we have an official logo? I mean, I've seen a couple of them, this is being one.
And the
Then I
Walk
saw-
Norwood
Then
one.
I saw the Walk Norwood one, we should come up with one,
That's how
No,
it
Rock
is.
Norwood's not ours.
The Walk
Yeah.
Norwood is not ours, that's the one that they developed through the grant.
It's a senior center.
This
the
That's
is-
senior
the
center,
senior
no, but
center,
there was initially the one I saw was the green, that we had
On
a,
the shirt.
on the shirt,
Yeah.
there was
That was the Take a Hike with the pine.
take a
Yeah,
hike,
yeah, yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
and,
Like that one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
no,
that's
I
it,
like
Joe.
that one.
Yeah, it was
So,
just
I
the
mean, at
same
some
one
point
with
we
the
should
Norwood too.
decide what's gonna go on all the letterheads, what's gonna go on, if we were to develop some kinda signage, on trails, with a little arrow that we have, use this, we're uniform in our,
Yeah, that would be.
Corporate
color
image.
and
Probably just-
logo.
So you could
Yep.
probably just
Yeah.
send you
Whole thing.
that.
so I do wanna see if we can make progress with that as well. And then, signage, trail markings, tie it into the maps,
Have
intersections,
a Mustang with
how we
like-
wanna manage that. Obviously, with something like that, we would have to run it by the owning body, the Concom or the light department or whoever, so. But I do wanna see if we can make some progress on that for the summer.
Yeah.
So luckily, we won't talk about that at all tonight. It's on a
Of the
future
mud
agenda.
pond.
Okay.
Where'd you get that splash mark? Was that?
Yeah, that's different.
That's the back of the t-shirt.
No, but I'm just curious if that splash mark.
I just found Splash and I added a footprint to it.
Joe, we could get another marketing thing, get a bumper sticker. I hiked the landfill.
And came back.
One thing I
This
know,
car.
Elevation 135
one
feet.
thing I have noticed in Norwood, there are no hills. So I mean,
Uh-huh.
there are no, other than the landfill.
It
I mean, the
goes-
town kind of
it goes
goes up,
right.
but as far as the walking trails,
Yeah.
there aren't any where you've got any
Not like
kind of.
Blue Hills, no.
Yeah, no, there aren't any steep.
It's a slope.
But the landfill is probably the tallest point.
No.
You know,
It
I mean,
it is actually the
It's
tallest
the highest
point.
point.
The
No,
highest
no,
hill.
it isn't. The water
Maple
towers
Street.
are
Well, the
higher.
water tower, but I mean,
Yeah.
but
But
that's
that's
a
man-made.
gradual, you know.
Yeah, no, but they're
No,
even
at the
higher
top
than the
of-
land
It
hill.
may
the top of
actually
the
be the
cemetery.
landfill
Yeah.
by now.
It's the highest,
After,
But-
it may actually be the landfill by now because they.
No.
they
Okay,
put-
so,
well,
okay,
they're-
call time out. Stop.
We were discussing that at the
This
top
could be
of
part of
Saturday.
the survey and/or raffle
Mhm.
discussion on Earth Day.
Okay.
Okay. Our next meeting is
23rd.
April
Scheduled
April
23rd.
23rd.
Tuesday, April 23rd, 7 PM, Norwood Town Hall.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
moved.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
Thank you all. Thank you, Norwood Community Media, for joining us. Thank you.